Welcome to the Continental Current. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more updates and thrilling short scenes. The Supreme Court. The 9 robed figures who get the final say on everything from civil liberties to, maybe one day, the hot dog sandwich debate. They're supposed to be the impartial referees of American law, the last defense against government overreach. Their decisions shape our lives in ways we often don't realize, until a ruling lands like a thunderbolt. This summer the court dropped a bombshell, an emergency ruling 8-1 that set off shockwaves through the federal government. The decision? The Trump administration can move forward with mass layoffs of federal workers. This isn't just a budget trim. It's a fundamental shakeup of the civil service. The people who keep your Social Security checks coming and our food safe. By lifting lower court injunctions, the Supreme Court has unleashed a process many call an unprecedented power grab, all before the case is fully argued. For decades, federal workers have had protections to ensure stability and expertise, not just political loyalty. Now, that entire system is in question. The court is letting the administration swing a sledgehammer before anyone's agreed on the blueprints. This isn't just a legal story, it's about real people, real jobs, and the services we all rely on. As we unpack this decision, remember, when the highest court says, go ahead, start the firings, the consequences are anything but abstract. Here's what happened. On July 8, 2025, the Supreme Court issued an emergency stay, lifting lower court blocks on President Trump's executive order for mass federal layoffs. The majority didn't say the layoffs were legal, just that they probably were, and that was enough to let them begin. Previously, lower courts had called the plan an unprecedented overreach. The Supreme Court's message: thanks, but we'll take it from here. Now the administration can proceed with layoffs while the legal fight drags on. It's like letting a demolition crew start before the architects finish arguing. The implications are immediate. Federal agencies can now move forward with plans that could see tens of thousands lose their jobs. The White House called it a victory for executive power. Unions called it a blow to democracy. They argue such a massive overhaul shouldn't happen without Congress. But the court's decision has made their worst fears a reality. The stage is set for chaos and uncertainty across the federal government. How did we get here? It started on February 11, 2025, with President Trump's executive order to slash the federal workforce, the goal: streamline government, cut costs, and, as the administration put it, eliminate the deep state, enter the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Yes, DOGE. Once led by Elon Musk, its mission: find cuts, fire fast. The order relies on a broad reading of presidential power under Article 2, claiming the president can hire and fire at will. This challenges decades of civil service protections meant to shield workers from political purges. Opponents see it as executive overreach, bypassing Congress to replace career experts with loyalists. This fundamental clash over presidential power is what brought the case to the Supreme Court. While the legal battle rages, the impact is personal and massive. The executive order threatens the jobs of tens of thousands across 21 federal agencies: state, treasury, transportation, social security, veterans affairs, and more. These aren't faceless bureaucrats. They're the people who process benefits, manage finances, and keep our infrastructure safe. Even before the ruling, over 20,000 probationary employees had already been laid off. Now the main event: career civil servants with years of expertise are at risk. Their sudden removal threatens not just their livelihoods, but the very functioning of government agencies. Gut the Social Security Administration and expect delays. Slash transportation, and safety oversight suffers. Hollow out state, and our diplomacy weakens. This isn't just about saving money, it's about dismantling the machinery that keeps government running. The loss of institutional knowledge could take decades to rebuild, if it ever can. Morale plummets, recruitment dries up, and the long-term damage to public service could be devastating. Why would anyone choose a government career if their job can vanish with the next executive order? Amid the 8-1 majority, one voice stood firm: Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Her dissent was scathing. She called the court's move a wrecking ball to the federal government. She argued the emergency stay allows potentially irreversible harm before the core legal question is even decided. Injunctions exist to prevent this kind of damage, she said. The lower court saw real risk. The Supreme Court swept that aside. Jackson warned this sets a precedent. Any administration can cause massive disruption if it convinces the court it'll win later. Firing tens of thousands isn't a surgical fix, it's blunt force trauma to government function and public trust. Her dissent reframes the issue. This isn't just legal wrangling, but a threat to the stability and integrity of our government. Even as layoffs begin, her warning echoes, a lone but powerful voice against executive overreach. The real shock? The 8-to-1 vote. Even liberal Justices Sotomayor and Kagan sided with the conservative majority. Why? This wasn't a final ruling, but a procedural decision about an emergency stay. The legal bar for keeping an injunction is high, and they may have felt it wasn't met here, even if they disliked the executive order itself. Some experts see this as the court pushing back against lower courts' sweeping injunctions that halt major policies. The message, the Supreme Court, not district judges, sets the boundaries for executive power. This unusual coalition shatters the idea of a purely partisan court and highlights the complexity of judicial philosophy. It also leaves Justice Jackson isolated, making her dissent even more striking. When it comes to executive power and judicial process, the lines aren't always where you expect. The implications for future cases and for the balance of power are profound. The dust settles, and the landscape is changed. The Supreme Court has given the Trump administration the green light to remake the federal government. Chaos and uncertainty loom as agencies implement layoffs. Vital services are at risk. The ruling strengthens the executive branch, weakening Congress and the judiciary. By allowing unilateral dismantling of the civil service, the court has set a powerful precedent for future presidents. The checks and balances that protect our democracy are eroding. The civil service, once a non-partisan body of experts, now faces politicization and instability. Policy could soon be driven by loyalty, not expertise. The Supreme Court's decision isn't the end, it's the start of a new, perilous chapter for American democracy. As the wrecking ball swings, we're left to wonder, can our republic withstand the impact?